Hello and welcome to this online PD of Book Creator for Teachers. Over the next few minutes, I hope to introduce Book Creator to you and show you how you or your students can use Book Creator to create awesome interactive books. But before I do, I'd just like to remind you that if you like EdTech tutorials, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. As soon as I upload new content, you'll automatically be notified. I've got lots of helpful videos on different types of EdTech platforms like Book Creator and several others. So if it's something you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe. Now let's get started on Book Creator for Teachers. Here's what we'll be reviewing. We're going to start by talking about what Book Creator is. Then we're going to be able to review some samples inside Book Creator. Finally, we'll go through and we will take a piece of student writing and automatically transfer that into an interactive book using Book Creator. So to give you an idea of what Book Creator is, I've created this 60-second video that will give you a quick glimpse into how the program works. So that was a quick overview of some of the things you can do with Book Creator. Let's take a little bit of a deeper view. Book Creator is an open-ended creation tool that you can use for iOS or Chrome. You can use this on an iPad that is running Safari. You can also use this on any Windows laptop with Chrome or on any Chromebooks. Now, teachers and students can both create and publish books. Teachers have a great ability to be able to oversee student work and even choose which books are published and which ones aren't. Users who are using Book Creator are able to create these really nice looking interactive books and not only have text and photos, but also interactive elements such as voice, video. There's a way to embed YouTube videos on a page as well as other third-party content. So it really allows you to create a book with several different types of media. And what I like about Book Creator is it's a tool where you can make these really sophisticated, professional looking interactive books, but it's also simple enough that even a kindergartner or first grader is able to use it to create their own books and to communicate a message. And then finally, again, a nice feature that's in Book Creator is as a teacher, you have the ability to create libraries. You can either create one library for your entire class or create multiple libraries, maybe based on subject area or topic. So you don't have to publish every individual book that students create. There's a way that you can publish all the books in a library all together at once and share an entire online library with just one URL. So some fantastic options. In terms of how other teachers are using Book Creator, here are some examples. Things like digital portfolios, maybe a poetry book, science reports, learning journals. There's great templates in there that will allow you to create comics, and finally, any tutorial or step-by-step guide. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the pricing in Book Creator, but the version that we're going to use is the free version. You can see it right on your screen. 40 books in Book Creator that will allow us to create one library with up to 40 books. Now, if you like Book Creator, there's a way that you can either purchase an individual license with 1,000 books as well as libraries that can store up to 200 books, or there is a school and district plan that your school is able to purchase that really gives you pretty much unlimited features. That's probably the nicest plan, but there's other options as well. We're just going to be using the free one for today. So again, Book Creator is just a really fantastic tool. I think you're really going to enjoy it. So let's get started by logging into Book Creator. So here we are at bookcreator.com, and we're going to start by going in and creating an account. If you'd like to go to bookcreator.com to view some more information about the platform, you can read it on this page. But what you want to do is to click this yellow button. And there's one thing that I need to make you aware of is that when you first click this yellow button, if you look underneath that smiley face, look what it says, Student Sign In. Now, I'm guessing that if you're watching this video, you're probably a teacher. You want to make sure that you just go in and you switch this to teacher. If you go in as a student, it's only going to allow you to do certain things. You notice that as you switch to a teacher, it changes from a smiley face to an owl. Once you've signed in as a teacher, that's what you want to do. So we're going to get started. You can either sign up with an email, or if you have a Microsoft or Google account, that will work as well. So here we are signed into Book Creator. What I like about Book Creator is really the simplicity of the interface. We're signed in. We have a few different options that you'll see right over here at the top. Okay, before we get started, I do want to show you that it has some really helpful tabs that maybe you haven't explored, or maybe other people who even are familiar with Book Creator haven't explored. And this is great if you're ever trying to share this with a colleague or in a professional development session. So on this Discover tab, you'll be able to find examples of other books that different teachers and different students have created. What's great about this is that you can actually filter this based on grade level. You can see kindergarten, elementary. There's also middle and high school. Sometimes when secondary teachers see Book Creator, they immediately think that it's only something that you can use at an elementary level, but it's not really true. There's some fantastic ways that you can use Book Creator for several different purposes. You see some great examples here. Here's one using Book Creator for formative assessment. When you click on a book in Book Creator, you'll notice that it gives you some stats in terms of how many times the book has been read, which is kind of interesting. It's a great way, once you publish books, to actually get some information on who is reading it. So there's some fantastic examples of Book Creator books that are available in this Discover tab that will give you an idea of some of the ways that you can use Book Creator. Another example is this one, specifically geared towards using Book Creator in the high school classroom. Gives you an idea of some of the options that are there. And of course, there's some fantastic examples of using Book Creator at, let's say, a kindergarten level. You know, sometimes teachers will see Book Creator and they'll think it's going to be a little too hard for 5 or 6 year olds, but then you show them examples, you can see how other students have been able to use Book Creator pretty easily to write simple sentences and to draw pictures. So there's some fantastic samples that are available in that main Discover tab. The second tab that says Learn will give you some excellent resources on how to do certain things in Book Creator. There's a chance that I'm not going to be able to cover every single thing that you want to know about Book Creator. So after you go and you learn a little bit about it, once you log in, feel free to go to this Learn section and find some more information on how to use Book Creator. But we are going to get started right over here where it says Libraries. So in Book Creator, the place that it takes you to is your teacher dashboard. This is kind of like behind the scenes of your Book Creator account. Now, one of the things that you'll notice in Book Creator is that you have your own personal library. This is a spot where you can create up to 40 books inside this library, and you can publish those books for yourself. So that's a great resource to have if you're just interested in creating a book and you want to share it out. A great way to do it is through Book Creator. But if you want students to create, students can't create their own libraries. They have to join libraries created by a teacher. So the first step, if you're interested in learning how to use Book Creator with students, is to create your own library. And again, you can see under where it says My Libraries, I have 0 libraries. I have an option of up to 1 on the free version. If you pay for Book Creator, you have several other options in terms of libraries that you can create. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create my library, and I'm just going to call this one Mr. Colosi's Classroom. Now, as you create your library, you have some options in terms of how you want to administer Book Creator. So you can see on here things you can turn on or off is the option to search for images within the program. We'll take a look at that. The other thing is students being able to edit their own books. This is something you can turn on or turn off. And then there's also the option of students being able to read each other's books. We'll see what that looks like in a second, but this may be something that you want to turn off, or maybe you want to turn it on. It's completely up to you, but we'll talk about that. And then the last step is students being able to publish their own books online. Normally, if I'm working with teachers, especially with younger students, I'll have them keep this off. Basically, what that means is your students won't be able to publish a book unless you actually publish it for them. It gives you a little bit more quality control as a teacher, so I would leave the settings the way that they are. So let's go ahead and create our library. So the first step, if you want your students to be able to create books inside your library, is to go in and share the invite code with them. You can find the invite code inside your library right over here at the top. So students will need this code to join your library. Now, they only have to enter this code once to get into your library, but if this is the first time doing it, you will have to probably put this code up on the board, on your interactive whiteboard, or somewhere where students are able to find this code and can type it in. So right now I can create my own book, which I could do, but I'm going to have students do it. Let's see how this will work for a student joining this library. So I just switched over to a student account, and if this is the first time that a student has logged into Book Creator, it will prompt them a message and ask them for that access code. Now, if they've used Book Creator before, they will need to manually join your library, and this is important because you want to make sure that students author books inside of your library. If they're a member of some of these other libraries, they may create a book and add it inside there. The problem is you won't have access to it because you're not the administrator of that library. So what you'll want to have students do first is to join your library, and you'll see the button to join a library right down in the bottom left-hand side. And I'm going to paste the code that I've recently generated. Once I join that library, you can see that I'm in Mr. Colosi's classroom, which is the same library that I have just created as a teacher. So as a student, I'm now all set to go in and to create. So the first thing that I want to do is to select New Book up at the top. And this is where I have some options. You can see the different sizes of books. You also have some options if you want to create those comic books with the different panes or graphic novels, that kind of thing. Book Creator also has templates that you can work on, which may be helpful. You can see some of the examples that are right over here. I haven't explored those in great depth, but there's some really cool ones, including this newspaper one that you'll see here if you want your students to create something that looks similar to a newspaper. But I'm going to get started, and I'm just going to choose this one, which is sort of the rectangular book. So I'm going to select that, and now I'm ready to get started. So as you can see on the screen, the first page is obviously the cover. And I'm going to talk to you about the book that I'll be creating in a second. But the first thing that we'll want to do is to change the color of our cover, unless you want a plain white cover. Again, one of the nice things about Book Creator is the simplicity of the interface. You'll see the 2 or 3 buttons in the top right-hand side. That's really all that you're going to need in order to create your books inside Book Creator. So the first thing I do is maybe change this background. So if I just click on the background, I'm going to go up to the top. This is the information button. This will allow you to change the properties of any object that you click. In this case, I click the cover. So I can go in and I can change the color of this if I'd like. I'm just going to pick this one, but you can see that there's also some other options where you can design some really fancy looking backgrounds if you would like, by playing around with some of the options at the bottom of the screen. Now, the next thing that I'm going to want to do is to give my book a title. So for this, rather than just starting this book from scratch, one of the things that is helpful sometimes for students is to have them write the narration of their story on a document kind of like this. This is just a document that I found online. But the title of it is right over here, The Harmful Ways of Bycatch and Overfishing. And I just went in and I converted this to a Word document so it's a little bit easier to copy and paste. So I'm just going to take my title right over here, and what I want to do is now to add text. That text is going to be my title, and as you can probably guess, to add text, to add something to your page in Book Creator, there's just the plus button at the top. I'm going to scroll down and choose text. I'm going to paste my text right over here and select done. Now, as you can see, this really does not look like the title. It just kind of looks like text in the body of a paragraph on the page. So we'll want to change that. So remember that I for information. I'm just going to click on the whatever I want to change. In this case, it's text. Click I for information, and on this menu, I can change the size of the text as well as the fonts. So lots of different fonts that I can use in Book Creator. I'm just going to go through and maybe, what one would look good? Let's just try this one. Now on that properties page, or on the information button right over here, I can also change the color if I'd like to. Gives me a few other options in terms of adding a shadow, columns, a few different things that are on here as well as background. I'm not going to have one, but that option does exist. And let me make my title just a little bit bigger, kind of like that. And you know, seeing the bright red on blue, it doesn't quite look so good, so I'm just going to make it a little bit darker so it's a little bit easier on the eyes. These are things that you can discuss with your students, or if you share this with teachers, some of those design elements to make your books a little bit easier to read. So what is on a cover besides the text of the title? How about some photos? So next what we're going to do is to add photos to our page. So again, we're going to click the plus button. And there's a few different ways that we can add photos. So I'm going to select Import. And the first thing that I want to be able to do is to take an image that I have saved somewhere on my computer and upload it. So you'll notice that when I select this menu that says Files, it's going to open directly to this Book Creator folder where I have this picture. I'm just going to upload that. This is a file that I downloaded from Unsplash and saved to my computer. So I'm able to just upload that directly onto the cover of my book. And again, looking at this, my title looks a little small. Let me just make it a little bit bigger, kind of like that. Now, another thing that you can add, another way that you can add pictures is rather than going through and maybe going on a search engine and downloading folders and downloading picture files and saving them onto your computer inside a folder, you can search directly for images in Book Creator. So if I just go ahead and type dolphin, it's going to return a lot of, you can see here's an example of a picture, lots of different options that Book Creator will return. And you don't have to have your students go to different websites. You can just go in and search and find picture files directly in Book Creator. But of course, if you don't want this, this is something you can turn on or off. You saw that at the beginning of the screen. So let me just take this option, this dolphin right over here. I'm going to add this, and I will resize this. Put this right over here. Now, the one thing I do want to let you know is something that's good to be aware of is when you add a picture, let me just take this one. When you add a photo on Book Creator, you can resize them. You can make it a little bit smaller. You can take it and kind of change the rotation, put a picture on an angle. The one thing you can't do is crop photos. So if you had a photo that you wanted to crop, you'd probably have to save it onto your desktop, crop it in a different program, and then upload it through Book Creator using that import files feature that we talked about. So there's no way to crop a photo when it's on your book. Now, this is not the best cover. If I was, working with students, maybe we'd have a talk about some of those design elements, but I'm just going to leave this the way it is to give you an idea of how some of the other features of Book Creator work. So once our cover is completed, if I want to create a new page, I just have to hit this right button, and now I have a brand new page to start with. So again, the first thing that I'll want to do is to change the color of the background. I could keep it blue, or I could switch to a different color if I would like. Maybe something that's a little lighter. Kind of like that. It's a little bright. Let me just bring it down. Just a little bit over here. Okay, that's a little bit better. Now, remember my document that I had right over here? What I'm going to do is maybe just take, let's say, about one paragraph. I'm just going to copy that. Again, I'm going to select the plus button, and I'm going to add text. And select done. And now I have my text on the page right over here. Remember, I've selected my text. I can go in and I can change the font if I wanted to. I could make this a little bit bigger. Maybe I'll just put it at the bottom, like this. Okay, I think that looks okay. I'm going to select the plus button, and this talks about Winter the dolphin that was found in an area, okay, and it's Cape Canaveral, Florida. So lots of different things that you can add in Book Creator. I showed you how you can add images. Now what I want to show you is something that's there where you can actually add a map of a certain place. So I'm going to put Cape Canaveral, Florida right over here, and you can even zoom in a little if I wanted to, maybe like somewhere around here. Select add, and you can actually add Google Maps directly to the page that's here. So here's an example of the location that they're talking about that I can add in Google Maps, and I can just add that very easily onto my page, which is kind of cool. Now, the other thing that I do want to share with you, I talked a little bit about how you can add actual images, either adding it through files or searching for images and adding it this way. There's a few other ways that you can add different visual elements to your page, and I'm going to show one of them. One of them is shapes. Now you can see some of these shapes that you can add to a page, kind of like this, that may help add a little bit of visual elements to your page. I like to use the rectangles sometimes that you can put behind images and kind of make them stand out, like this one. I have this rectangle. Now right now it's blocking my map, so what I want to do is to layer that behind the map, and you can do that by clicking that I for information, choose back, and now it's behind there. This doesn't look so great, but this is something that sometimes works really well. But let's say for this image I want to put a picture of a dolphin somewhere on this map, maybe like right around here. So what I can do is go to the plus button, and rather than importing an image, either searching directly on Book Creator or uploading something that I had saved on my computer, I can choose this option that says pen. And here's where I have some pretty cool options, especially if you work with students. So I'm going to actually use these tools in Book Creator to maybe draw my own dolphin. So the first thing that I'll want to do is to set the size of my pen. I guess I'll kind of pick one like this. I'm going to choose maybe like a grayish color. And let me try to draw my dolphin. Oh man. Oh boy. Okay, so here is my dolphin. I can use the paint fill tool to fill that in a little bit, but man, this does not look so good. Let me just change the eye. Oh my goodness. Okay, so my dolphin does not look so good. I'm just going to save it. Oh man, look at that. This doesn't look so good. Now, if your students have a touchscreen, an iPad, a device that allows you to maybe draw directly on the screen, that's going to make it easier. If you have a Chromebook or a device that doesn't have a touchscreen, that you just kind of use a trackpad, drawing's going to be a little challenging. But don't worry, because there's a few different things that we can do. So let me just click on that and delete my dolphin. I'm going to go back to the pen tool, and here is the first way that I can add some better looking objects. I'm going to go down to the Autodraw pen. This is an awesome feature where with Autodraw, you don't have to be able to draw anything, because you can use artificial intelligence and what you're drawing will automatically pop up on the screen. So let me try to draw my dolphin again. Here's my dolphin. There's the nose. Okay, you'll notice at the top, Autodraw is going to try to give me some options for dolphins. It took a little while, and I think I see one. Look at that, right over here. Perfect. So rather than me having to draw a dolphin, I can just find one through Autodraw. And once you get back to this menu, you can again use our paint bucket tool to go in and fill in any empty space inside your image. Just going to select done, and there we go. There's a much better version of a dolphin that you can add on your page if you'd like. Maybe I can copy and paste this, and I can have several different dolphins swimming in this area as well. So a really neat tool, and that is Autodraw. So another thing that you can add from that same pen menu is if I click on pen, and rather than choosing any of the pens, if I just go right over here to the smiley face, this is a way that I can add emojis. So now there's not an emoji for everything, but if I just choose dolphin, there is a dolphin emoji that I can use and I can add directly onto my page. So several different ways that you can use some of those features in Book Creator to add different types of visual elements onto your page. So I think this page is good. Now let's move to the next one. So now I'm going back to my document. I'm just going to copy another block of text. Right over here, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to Book Creator, and I'm going to select the plus button, choose text, and I'm going to paste that text directly onto the page. Okay, now one of the things that I like about Book Creator is if you are citing something, or if you have the source of what you're typing in your text, there's a way that you can link out to that source. So here is a statement that shows that this statement had been taken or sourced from Wikipedia. So I could go to Wikipedia, and I could copy that link, click on the link button, paste it, and now within my text, I can link directly to the source that this information is from. So kind of an interesting way to do that. Now again, I'm going to go in, I'm going to change my background, and let's add something else. I'm just going to use the plus button. I'm going to go to import. Okay, it talks a lot about fishermen. I'm just going to go in and just do a search for fishing boat. I guess I will just take maybe this one. Go to add. And again, this is kind of where that feature of not being able to crop sometimes is a little bit challenging, because without being able to crop just this boat, I now have to kind of go in and sort of configure this page around. It's not terrible, but sometimes it makes it a little bit more challenging. Okay, so now let's go to my next page. So the next thing I'll want to do is to obviously add my text. Now what I've been doing in the other 2 pages has been copying and pasting text from that Word document into Book Creator. That's fine, but let's say that this was an activity where students maybe hand wrote their books on a piece of paper, and it's going to take them a long time to transcribe their handwriting into Book Creator using their keyboard. So a nice feature is the option that you can use, and that's speech to text. So if I click on this microphone, it's going to allow me to dictate directly into Book Creator. Right now, I am using Book Creator's text-to-speech feature to dictate the text of my story, period. This is a helpful feature, especially for students who are unable to type efficiently, period. And there we go. Now, with any text-to-speech feature, it's not 100% accurate, but it's usually pretty good. The one thing you do have to watch for is sometimes when you just take a little pause, it will think that you're stopping because it's the end of a sentence, and it will automatically add a period there. So some things you'll have to do if you use this feature is to go back and reread, obviously. But I'm going to select Done. And there we go. That text is now on my page where I can go in and sort of change some of those properties. Now, another interesting feature that you probably saw with some of the kindergarten books is the option to add student voice directly onto the page. This is kind of cool where not only do you have student writing, but you can add a button that your readers can press, and they can actually hear the author read on the page. So to do that, you just select the plus button. We're going to choose Record. Okay, we're going to record a sound. I'm going to select Start Recording. Right now, I'm using Book Creator's text-to-speech feature to dictate the text of my story. This is a helpful feature, especially for students who are unable to type efficiently. Let's go ahead and play this back. I'm using Book Creator's text-to-speech feature to dictate the text of my story. This is a helpful feature, especially for students who are unable to type. So lots of different ways that you can add different voices. I've seen books before where it was written in one language and then it was translated in another language. So lots of great options. You will see that if you log into Book Creator and you go onto the Discover menu. So let's add something else. We have our text. We have that button that's going to allow us to hear the audio of that text. The other thing that I want to do is to go to the Import button. And now I'm going to choose this option that says Embed. So this is really interesting because you can embed lots of different types of content directly onto your page. And if you look right over here, you'll see things like Flipgrid. There is a Google Form, Adobe Spark, or I guess Adobe Creative Suite. Whatever the name of the product is now, it shows you a Google Sheet that you can embed. And the thing that I think is most helpful is being able to embed a YouTube video. So here's an example. This is a video that I want to share on my page inside Book Creator. If I just copy this link, go back to Book Creator, paste that link. There we go. Add that directly onto my page. Now, when readers go onto my page, they can read my text, they can listen to me read the text, and then they can actually watch a video embedded inside the page on Book Creator. So a really interesting way for your students to be able to demonstrate their learning, not only with text, not only with images or drawing, but also by taking existing content such as YouTube videos and embedding it directly on a page. So there's also a feature of a camera where you can take a photo either of a student, it's either a photo or a video, and add that directly to your page. I don't have that feature here in this tutorial, but it's something that you can use as well. It's definitely great if you have a device like an iPad that's one that students can hold, as opposed to a laptop, which makes recording videos a little bit more challenging, but definitely a feature to check out. So this is not finished, but let's just say for the sake of this tutorial that my 4-page book is just about done. So I've got it right over here inside my library. You'll notice that if I click on the share button, it gives me a few different options in terms of downloading that as an ebook, which is a great feature that you may want to explore. The other option is to print it. As a student, these are really the only two options that I have if I want to share this. Teachers have other options, and we'll talk about that in a second. But if I'm a student and I want to go in and just kind of read my book and see how it works, let me just go back there for a second. There is a play button that you can select, and this will show you exactly what that book is going to look like when you publish it and share it as a link. So here's our cover. It opens up to this page. Remember our Google map that we had inside. This page as well, where I took the Wikipedia link and I linked directly inside the text. Another interesting feature of Book Creator is the option to have the Book Creator program read it directly inside the browser. So if you, again, have younger students who can't quite read text, if I select this option that says read to me,
winter, an Atlantic bottlenose dolphin was found on the shore in Cape Canaveral.
Okay, so those are some ways that you can select that to read it. It's reading a little bit slow.
Winter.
Let's go ahead and try that again. There we go. Now let's try it.
Winter, an Atlantic bottlenose dolphin was found on the shore in Cape Canaveral, Florida, tangled in a crab net.
Okay, so that gives you an idea of some of the ways that you can have Book Creator actually read that book to you. Let's just go to the last page right over here. And there we go. So this is how a student can preview a book. Now, I just switched to my teacher account, and what's great about this account is that I am able to view all of the student work in very close to real time. So as a teacher, after my students work independently, I can go to my Book Creator account. I can go in, maybe fix some grammatical errors if they exist, or take something out that doesn't belong there. And I can see what my students are doing in just about real time. But let's say that I go in, this book looks really good, and now what I want to do is to publish this book. Remember, as the student, I didn't have this option. That is the option to publish the book online. So I'm going to select Publish Online, and now as the teacher, I'm able to go in and add some details about this book. So I added my details here. Now, these are some settings that you may want to explore. Who can find this book? You can either have it be public or private. I'm just going to select private. You can read a little bit about it below. And then the option for remixes. Remixes is kind of an interesting feature in Book Creator that will allow other users to take an existing book and kind of make a duplicate of it and modify it. But I'm just going to leave that off as well. So now I'm going to select Publish Online. And there we go. It says that this book has been published. If I want to share it, I just have to select this button that says Copy Link. Let me open a new private window. I'm going to paste that link. And there we go. Now anyone can go in and read this book. So that's how to publish an individual book. So let me go back to my teacher account, which is right over here. This option works great if you just want to publish one book, but let's say you've got a class of 24 kids and you want to publish all of their books. You probably don't want to go in and publish each of those 24 books individually. That would be a big pain. That would take a lot of time. So one of the things that you can do inside your class library is actually publish the entire library. So this is kind of an interesting way where if you have all the books in the library, you want to publish them all at once, there is an option where you can publish the library online. It will go down and give you a few options in terms of who is allowed to see this library. I usually just select this one, only people with the link. But of course, you can set this to work with a password as well if you'd like. Now I'm going to do publish online. It's showing me that my library has been published. Let's view this online. Here it is. There's only one book in it, but if there were, again, 24 books, you'd see all of the books, and it kind of creates almost like a shelf over here. So a great way to go in and demonstrate an entire class of interactive books. The library is a great way too if you want to share that, if you want other students to read their classmates' books, you can create a link and you can share that link. So it is a great way for you to share student work, not only in the classroom, but also outside the classroom, maybe to parents or anyone else with that link. So that was a really quick walkthrough of how to use Book Creator. There's a lot more features that you can find if you go to that Learn tab that we talked about at the beginning of this video. Lots of other things that I didn't touch on, but things that you can probably pick up on your own. I hope that this gives you sort of a foundation of knowing what Book Creator is, how to use it, and then where to find other student samples as well as additional information to do some more advanced features in Book Creator. I really think that this is a fantastic product and it's completely free to try. So if you have a classroom of students, this may be something that you want to give it a shot this year. So thanks for watching this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer those. So thanks and have a great day.